If you've spent any time on the internet, you've definitely used React. It's the powerhouse behind sites like Netflix, Instagram, and the New York Times. But what is it, really? So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the big idea behind one of the most popular tools for building, well, the entire modern web.
Right, so how do they do it? How do you build an app that complex from what feels like a million little pieces? Well, to really get it, we actually have to take a step back and look at how websites used to be built. It's a journey that goes from a simple document to a full-blown application.
Okay, so to really appreciate what React brings to the table, you've got to start at the very beginning. We're talking about the foundation of the web itself, HTML. It's the language that gives every single web page its basic bones.
The easiest way to think about HTML is like it's the skeleton of a website, and it's a markup language, not a programming language, which is a key difference. It just describes the content. It tells your browser, hey, this part's a heading, this is a paragraph, and that's a link. It's a lot like a simple Word document, really. And the way it works is actually pretty straightforward. It's all about these things called tags. You just wrap your content between an opening tag and a closing tag, and boom, you've created a piece of your web page. It's clean, it's structured, and it was perfect for the early days of the web, when pages were mostly just static information. But here's the catch. For all its power and giving things structure, HTML on its own is static. It's fantastic for displaying information that doesn't really change, but it just wasn't built for stuff like live news feeds, interactive charts, or those real-time notifications we're all used to now. And that right there, that brings us to the big problem that eventually sparked the need for tools like React. You see, the web was outgrowing its origins as a collection of simple documents. See, as websites got more ambitious, developers started layering on interactivity with JavaScript, but things got tangled fast. Just imagine trying to update one single comment on a huge page. You'd have to write all this specific manual code just to find that one little piece and change it. At scale, it was just a spaghetti-like mess of code, a disaster waiting to happen where one tiny change could break everything. The web needed a better way.
So something had to change. A totally new way of thinking was needed. And that's exactly where React comes in, with honestly, this brilliant and really simple idea. And this is it. This is the big idea, the huge shift in thinking. Instead of seeing a web page as one giant single thing, React says, break it down. Just think in tiny, independent, reusable little pieces. The best way to get this is to think about Legos. Seriously, you build one perfect little like button block, just once, and now you can stick that block anywhere you need it, over and over again, without ever having to rebuild it. Then you snap those small blocks together to build bigger things, like a video player, until you have this whole complex, amazing application. So yeah, components totally solve the organization problem. But what about that messy update problem we talked about? Well, this is where React's other big idea comes into play, something called the virtual DOM. Okay, so instead of messing with the live web page directly, which is slow and clunky, React keeps this super fast, lightweight copy, like a blueprint, in memory. When you click like, React changes its blueprint first. Then it does a super quick comparison between its blueprint and the real page, figures out the absolute minimum that needs to change, and then bam, it makes that one tiny surgical update. It's incredibly fast and efficient. But this whole idea of components and these super efficient updates, it's become so much bigger than just a clever way to write code. It's created an entire world around it. So what is React, really? Well, first, it's a library. Basically a toolkit of code that does the heavy lifting for you. Second, it gives you an architecture, a kind of roadmap for how your app's data should move around predictably. And maybe most important, it's this massive global community. And when I say massive, I mean it. Get this, over 2 million developers check out the React docs every single month. That's insane. It means if you run into a problem, odds are somebody has already figured it out. You're never really on your own when you're building. Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? What does this whole component philosophy mean for the future of, well, building things? This is where that whole Lego idea gets really, really powerful. See, with a tool called React Native, you can take the exact same skills and build native mobile apps. And I mean, we're not talking about just a website stuffed into an app. These are the real deal, using the actual building blocks of Android and iOS, so they look and feel perfectly at home on your phone. And that, at the end of the day, is the whole point.
React isn't just about code, it's a common language, a shared way of building things that lets developers, designers, and entire teams, even from totally different companies, work together seamlessly.
So, by getting us to break down these huge, scary problems into small, doable pieces, React is more than just change how we write code. It actually changes the way we think about building things. It makes these giant, impossible seeming projects feel achievable. You just build them one block, one component at a time.